Mike was he was legendary around here in many other circles because he was a strong man, he was a boxer, he was a wrestler, a circus performer.
We would lift weights with a bunch of cinder blocks strapped onto a metal bar.
He could ride 60 miles to a race, win the race and ride home again.
He had a bike that had no tyres on it. He'd just cycle it through the dead bog, so you can imagine the strength that was needed to do that.
I suppose Mike's crowning achievement, and the thing that most would know him for, was that he won the Ross in 1958 on his first attempt. He had an accident and he crashed, and he came down very hard on his shoulder. But he continued and he cycled to the finish of that stage, and they took him to hospital in Tralee. He didn't want to stay there overnight. I believe he escaped through the window because he was worried about the body snatchers. This was some superstition that was going around at the time. The doctor held him up and strapped his toes in, placed his hands on the bars, and he rode the Ross the following day with a broken collarbone. And it was after that that one of his teammates turned around and says, "This man is an Iron Man." He died on September the 11th last year, and a lot of the local cyclists came out here and we formed a guard of honour, and we were just out on the road, and it just kind of came up wouldn't it be great to have a cycle, for the Iron Man.
Having somebody local who you can look up to in terms of cycling, it was a big draw for me then to join up with the cycling club leading up to the day and on the day of the cycle itself. It was great support, not just from the club, but from everybody in the community who chipped in and did their part.
We in Carsavine Credit Union see ourselves very much as part of the community. That's why we were absolutely delighted to be one of the sponsors of the Mike Murphy Memorial Cycle. The event was a great success, and there's great credit due to the committee who came up with the idea to honour such a man.
We got everybody out, we got them as far as Waterville, everybody was well fed. We got them on the road again, and we got them as far as Portmagee. Everybody had another great feed there, done their loop of the island, came back here nice and tired, and everyone got well fed again.
Staff here in the credit union were very happy to row in straight away. There was no problem getting volunteers to help with the feeding stations.
It certainly wouldn't have got the feedback that we got afterwards if we hadn't got the local community out and they fell in behind us.
165 people turning up on the day, for a first time out, that's something else, something not many people can boast of.
And I think a lot of people were blown away by the scenery and by the welcome and the enthusiasm of the committee, and it was a great success all round.
The aim of the cycle will be to raise funds in order to have a statue built of Mike Murphy, something that Carsavine can have to be proud of, its own sporting legend.
How long it takes, we're not really sure. It all depends on how much we collect each year.
Once we've got funds raised and we've got the statue of Mike up there, then we can turn into something so much more, something that doesn't just build a statue, something that benefits the community.
Just a little bit in excess of €5,200 between registrations and donations from cyclists. We covered all our costs beforehand with help from our sponsors and the club and other private donations, and every single penny of that €5,200 is going into the memorial, and we thank the cyclists for that.